Welcome to Bonfire Conversations. I'm your host, Hamidreza Nikoofar, and in this episode, I'm diving into the subtle yet crucial art of UI design in games. I had the pleasure of speaking with Fernando Forero, the legendary UI designer behind The Witcher, Cyberpunk 2077, and Diablo 4. We explored the art and psychology of UI, breaking down what makes a great user experience, the biggest challenges in game design, and how UI shapes the way we interact with games. Fernando shares insights into the evolution of UI, the trends that excites him, and the unseen details that can make or break a game's interface. Before we begin, please consider subscribing, liking, and commenting. Bonfire Conversations is available on YouTube and all the major podcast platforms. This is my conversation with Fernando Forero.
Nice to have you on the podcast. I love your career. Your career is full of games with crucial dependencies on UI, mostly great RPGs like The Witcher, Cyberpunk 2077, and recently Diablo. And I love all of those games. And in all of them, the UI just works. It feels intuitive, seamless. And I guess my question here is what's the secret sauce behind making a UI feel invincible yet essential?
To say that, I guess that is teamwork. You have a good UX people doing the basics, the skeleton of the UI, and on top of that, you have a good UI artist skinning the UI. You have a good product, and it's a lot of direction, it's a lot of iteration, it's a lot of there is a plenty of ideas that are on the table all the time when you produce games, and because of gameplay or art direction or, I don't know, whatever happened in the game that need changes, many things will change all the time. So at the end of the day is how to optimize time in production, where to put the best resources to push forward things. But mainly the projects I worked on that have some specific quality is just teamwork. I cannot credit myself to everything, because at the end of the day there is a hierarchy of people taking decisions over my work, even things that sometimes I would do something nice and interesting for me, but maybe someone in the team don't like it, or maybe it's not useful. So it's just teamwork. Is testing the game, is proving the game, is playing a lot with the game, and targeting high standards of production.
Yeah. So I guess I'm curious. Your work is this weird blend of psychology, aesthetics, and functionality. So what's your approach when you start designing a UI from scratch? What's level one, and how do you take it from there and make sure that everything is crystal clear and fun to interact with?
Maybe I work in the art of the UI. So there is people that make documentation and make the skeleton of the UI, the usability, and they build the foundation of the UI, how many things we need to interact with. And then my goal when I enter in a project is to understand the project in itself. My goal is to make something unique that is tailored for the game. Initially, when I started years ago with the project Witcher, it was a challenge for me because the project was new. I never been before in the video game industry. I was making graphic design for different kind of projects, people, companies, and platforms, from web to print to logo to many different fields. And my approach is always as a graphic designer, what I can bring to the table visually that is aligned with the projects I work for the art director that I work for, and for the kind of IP I work for.
Yeah.
So my target is, if it's Diablo, it should be feeling Diablo. If it's Witcher, it should be feeling Witcher. If it's another kind of project, I guess that my main concern is how to adapt my tools as a graphic designer target specific needs of communication and usability in the UI.
Yeah, it's such a subtle yet a difficult job, because I mean it's so easy to be different from the art, the overall art of the game, but yet in your work, for example, Diablo, as you've mentioned, it's so embedded in the environment, in the world of Diablo, that is almost like indistinctable to the nature of the game. And there must be a lot of back and forth conversations with the art director to kind of like maintain that visual style.
Yeah. And I guess that for me, this is an interesting project because I'm touching not only the UI, but designing fonts, symbols, helping the print team, the art media teams, and I'm helping the IP to grow in different directions based on whatever we do with the UI. But for me, when I started working with Diablo and the interface, the way how I immerse myself in the game was thinking, what if I'm not the one that is designing the UI? What if it's a guy that lives in the world of Diablo and is an artist living in this world that is dangerous and dark, and you don't have resources and you don't have time to polish everything and make it so ornate or beautiful. You are just surviving, so everything is rough, everything is not highly polished.
Yeah.
And then you have on top the textures that reflect the world where the UI sits. So the word of sanctuary is an inspiration for my work in the work in the UI art.
Yeah. And you also worked on the DLC Vessel of Hatred, right?
Part.
Yeah. And that visually, that DLC was a lot different from the base game.
Yeah.
And did anything change for you, or did you have to adapt the new art style?
We have more hands working in the project because we have more needs and there are more things to do. So we have more artists, UI artists, giving work to the UI. So in production, they organize specific tasks for every part of the team, and everyone is developing specific things. Then in the production of this expansion, I had my put into two sides, developing a lot of things for the media art team, and half of my time working for UI. So I designed a lot of fonts, symbology that is in visual effects, and mainly cultural resources for the hero, for the class. I was giving more support in that field.
Yeah.
So obviously there is a change, and I guess that there is a need to as well to show to people where we can go, no? Where we can go in different directions, keeping a field of work.
Yeah. And game UI has evolved a lot over the years. You think are we heading in a good direction, or do you think that some modern trends are actually hurting the experience? I mean, for someone who's not that familiar with the craft of UI design, what's been happening lately?
I guess the main problem that I see, especially newcomers, the people that are studying UI or that want to enter in the industry, they are developing projects thinking about the trends. When you design thinking in a trend, your project have a date of expiration because next time will come another trend. So your project is not relevant anymore.
Yeah.
When I'm designing for example, for Diablo, I'm interested is in Diablo, the IP, how visually it can be represented in the UI, and how we can expand to different places of communication of the IP through different media. And And I'm not thinking about trends. I don't care about the trends. I don't know what is in fashion now in graphic design because this is not my main concept. My main concept is what is the uniqueness of this project, how to explode this uniqueness, and how to make it that people feel close to the project.
Yeah.
That people have a feeling that, okay, this UI is really belonging to this project, and it's not something that I already saw in another places. Or, when I started to work with the UI, what I did is go into the concept artists, talk to the art director, talk to the people that are writing stories, try to see a lot of concept art, and immerse myself in the universe of Diablo. I was not looking, okay, what is doing another side piece? What is doing Path of Exile or whatever? I'm not. This is not. I'm not competing with them visually.
Yeah.
My main goal is how to explode the IP of Diablo in a unique and new way.
Yeah.
And that's something that I see a lot in the UI is when you see portfolios of people, they are just, when you see how they provide information, how they make their work, the first thing that they show is the references are this, the references that, the references, all is external references, but not the game in itself that they wanted to create.
Yeah.
So this is my take, but it is not only in UI. But again, I'm taking everything as a graphic designer. If I am designing a logo for a doctor, I will not be looking what another doctors are doing. I just need to understand what this doctor is doing that is unique to his practice and how to exploit it in his favor.
Yeah, true. So, what's a UI design decision you're really proud of? Something people might not even notice, but makes a huge difference.
I guess that there is a plenty of things in the Diablo UI that is unique. I was cleaning frames. I was cleaning a lot of decisions that were took in previous editions that they worked at the time and worked well. Everyone was copying Diablo 3 and Diablo 2, and but come with a new thing, a new thinking, a new solution, a new ways to present Diablo. It is something special for me. And on top of the framing work and all the art that I did and the symbols and the sigils and so on, I create a new font. Yeah, because during many times in the process of the people have this association with the previous font with Diablo, and in my inner feelings, I thought that it's better to have a typography, a font that belongs to the project, and not that it's a commercial font that everyone can buy.
Yeah.
So my main goal, prototyping the font, the Fenris font, old font for Diablo, was something really special. One, because it was not a request from art direction, but it was on my own take, my own decisions. I was pitching them ideas, and at the end of the day, the idea worked, and they used now this font as the official font of Diablo, the Diablo IP, which is a big thing. And on the other hand, creating all these glyphs or fonts for the classes or the regions of Sanctuary, which gives a cultural background or more an approach of realism inside of the fantasy that is Diablo.
Yeah.
And I guess that is it's harder for me to say that if I am proud or not, but it just makes me happy that something that I am pushing and giving a lot of dedication has an impact in the work that I'm doing, in the projects I work for.
Yeah. I'm curious, you were mentioning about the symbols, for example, fonts in the Diablo, and it's something that's really getting the franchise got a lot of inspiration from um, historical like books or stories. Where do you get your inspiration, and how do you research that? I mean, do you go look for old books, looking for symbols, and
I have a job, for example, too, with the sigils. I consume a lot of books. I'm reading as much as I can. I'm looking references in many places. I am addicted to books, and I have a general idea of how some symbology, occultism works in medieval times.
Yeah.
But when creating all these sigils, I didn't back to see these books. I just try to, okay, I will try to remember compositions, but I will make my own uniqueness on my use of memory. I use intuition a lot in my work. Intuition is a big part of my work. So, for example, when I'm making a composition of a sigil, I will make the circles, the basic shapes, and then when I see the work is seeing me, okay, you need to move these points here, you need to make the circles more smaller, the work in itself is saying me what I should be doing to make it better. So I am, at the same time that I am creating my work, I am judging my work. And it's a lot of intuition and inner feelings towards my work, but through the process of collecting and consuming information as much as I can, movies, magazines, everything that I have the feeling that you as a creative, you need to open your brain and just put a lot of different stuff in your head, because those are the seeds of creativity. For example, in that case, in design of sigils, but when I'm designing specific fonts for a specific tribe or clan or class, I need to think who they are. So, for example, barbarians, they are not too smart, and they are not reading a lot. They are not. It's a culture that is strong, that is really, temperamental and so on. So when they write, I imagine that they will use a specific kind of tool that they will scratch the paper. They will use leather to write, and they will be heavy marks in the leather, and then they will have a specific way to work. And it's the same when you see Chinese or Japanese. They have a specific tools that they move in a specific way to create specific shapes. And I am using the same reference. It's like, okay, if you have I don't know, another part of the world that is a little bit more dry and sandy, it will remind me a little bit of Egypt and the kind of symbols or writings that is a little bit more elongated and so on. I am imagining how these people are writing. And I guess that is the same concept that you see in the Lord of the Rings, yeah?
Yeah.
So, for example, when you see the classes that are more obscure and dangerous, the weapons are squarish and rough and destroyed, while you see the kind of heroes that are a little bit more beautiful and transcendental and more philosophical, and they like music and so on. The weapons are more beautiful and are embellished, and they have colors and they have stones. It's the same concept. Is how to communicate something that belongs to some specific conditions of life.
Yeah, this is crazy that an art style, a font, a form of expression of art during medieval era is used now in 2025 for Diablo in order to interact with modern audiences playing a video game. It's crazy. I mean, looking back in history, I mean, for example, Egypt, they were always communicating through symbols. So it's always been there, and we've been in touch with that storytelling or like communicating, finding our way, airports. This is crazy that it's all this art is always there, and the science of it is here, but you get inspiration from the style of something comes many centuries ago.
Yeah, because that you study the history of the typography and the writing and the printing process. Everything is started for basic symbols, and then there's just like in past they could take more time making the symbols. Then with time they need to write it more faster, so they simplify the shapes.
Yeah,
and then using different kind of tools or materials or inks or I don't know if it's carved in wood or whatever, they have different tools, so it left different kind of marks, and the processes are different. And when creating all these cultural typographies and glyphs for Diablo, I thought about that. This is all ways to write. It's not too beautiful. It's not too fast. It's not technologically developed. It's just more. I have to give a story behind of the fonts. Initially, when I'm seeing a lot of different kind of projects that are fantasy related, usually the artists make random shapes.
Yeah.
And when you see them together, they seems to don't belong to the same structure. So, for example, when you see a new modern font or a medieval font, let's say a black letter font medieval, they have a specific angles, a specific thickness, specific movement that they make them look from the same pattern. So what I'm doing with all these symbologies and glyphs with Diablo is, okay, I need to create one alphabet or a group of symbols that belongs together, that when you put them together, it looks like a language, even if it's a fantastical language.
Wow, this is great. So UI design seems like such a competitive space, and it's not something that gets as much mainstream attention as, say, concept art or the animation. If someone wanted to break into UI today, where should they start?
It is a lot of changes in that perception, especially because during last years, the industry is showing that there was a big need of UI artists. This profession is new. Making UI for video games is something new. In past, some years ago, we don't have universities to teach. We don't have people thinking about that, the psychology of UI, and it's something really, really new. And that's why it was not in the mainstream. But more and more you see channels, you see not only UI for video games, but fictional UI. Because of the movies, you see a lot of UI in all these hero type movies. They use a lot of UI, Iron Man, or I don't know, a lot of new movies that contain or use comic references. They are posting UIs, and there is a lot of people, new generations of people that want to enter in the industry. And I guess that the one thing that you need to have clear first is there is no 20 Blizzards, there is no 20 DICE, there is no a lot of room for everyone. And that's why you need to be smart and use your resources in a smart way in order to create a portfolio that is competitive. Avoiding this that we mentioned early on, that don't make work that are trendy. Just thinking a project that is unique and how you can make it unique that different from others. Because at the end of the day, when you are hired from big companies, they want you for your expertise, not for how much you can copy something. They want your input. They want to see how they can use your talents to push boundaries and how to make something unique and cool. So I guess that you need to start thinking is about what new I can offer to a specific industry. Secondly, probably you need to have more or less a clear idea of where you want to be working.
Yeah.
Because if you want to work for Blizzard, Blizzard make Blizzard products. You need to understand the Blizzard aesthetics. If you work for another companies, they have their uniqueness too, and they have their own specific needs. So if you know what you wanted to apply and which kind of projects you wanted to work, you will create your portfolio around these topics. I think that is important, to know as much as you can about software and implementation too. And you need to read a lot. You need to be I guess that you need to be a curious mind. You need to be resourceful. And another thing that you need to think a lot is like you will be not doing all the time things that will please you. You are working for a project, and this project have specific needs independent of my aesthetics values.
Yeah.
So, for example, I can create a lot of things that I felt in love for the UI that at the end of the day they cut out because, I don't know, production or gameplay change or whatever, or they have another ideas for something. And it's a lot of time developing something that it keeps in a vault and no one will see the work. So there is something that you need to be. There is a lot of iteration in your work. There is a lot of no, this doesn't work. You need to do different things. We need different takes in something. It's a work that demands a lot of iteration in your work, and sometimes you cannot be happy with the result. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't work in the project. Yeah, you can do something that probably visually you don't like it, but it's perfect for the project. It's perfect for something that gives a perfect solution for the challenges of creating a video game. Because this is the other thing, it's like creating games not that easy. You see in the media a lot of people criticizing and thinking that, why the gamers, why the developers don't make this, or why they don't push in here, why they don't. It's easy when you launch the project and everyone have hands on and criticize over the thing that is built. But no one say, how many years took to build this thing? How many hours of your work? And all of us as a developers, the aim is to launch a successful project. No one wants to fail. No one in our industry wants to fail. So yeah, it's a lot of variable and mentalities that you need to have in order to perform at the best of your abilities for specific projects and specific companies.
Yeah, great advice. So I've started this new segment of the podcast called Penny for Your Thoughts, where I ask some quick questions to get to know you better. And hopefully you'll learn so much here. So are you ready for this?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So what's a UI design choice in gaming that drives you insane?
In a good or in bad way?
In a bad way.
In a bad way. There is a plenty of UIs that only focus on the beautiness of the UI, but not in the usability. I think that the important key in the UI is usability first, and then skin second. You can have my recommendation is always, you have a company and you want to make your UI team good, hire a good UX.
Designer.
And then you can have a regular or good UI artist that will make the UI. Most of the time when people complain about something, it's about the usability of the UI.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's great that you mentioned that, because when you look back at the old games, they used to have so many details and artistic thing on the screen, and people now look back and say, oh, how artistic they were looking. But seriously, after like half an hour, you're wishing for something more minimalistic to just see the
Yeah.
word of the game instead of just
Yeah.
the huge UI element on the screen.
Yeah, that's true. Years ago, again, it was because we don't have education in UI, so the
Yeah.
artist will do specific things to communicate the game, but he will, I guess my feeling is that he will abuse of visual codes and
Yeah.
overlapping
Space.
too many ideas and taking space off of immersion in game. Because at the end of the day, the UI serves to the immersion in game.
Yeah. Yeah. So next question. If your life had a HUD, heads-up display, what 3 things would always be visible?
In HUD, you need to have your health, where it comes, where comes enemy or something that it will attack you or that put you in danger, and your resources. But your resources in gameplay. Yeah, I don't know, magic resources or physical resources or weaponry, or you need to have this kind of information. Modern games, I don't know, they avoid maps or things like that. But it's not because you want to do it. It's simply that the gameplay requires it.
Yeah.
My take is always, what it's not about what you can add to your UI. It's about what is beneficial for the gameplay.
Yeah. But my question was about your life. I mean, if in
in
your
my
life, like in your eyes,
No, this
if
is
you
so
had it.
complicated because I'm less rational and more emotional. I am. I need to read all the time my emotional levels.
Wow, that's great.
Because I am overthinking. I am insecure. I am a little bit, on the dark side of things, and I need to read my levels of feelings.
That's a great idea, because sometimes we're like feeling something and we're wondering if we are overreacting or overthinking, or no, it's good to be concerning about that. And if there was an element up there and showing that it's red, we're like, all right, we're overthinking. Yeah. It's not that bad. Yeah.
And I guess that we come from a world where everything was over positive, like overthinking in the positive, and if you are positive, you can achieve, and if you are, I don't know, there is an over stimulation in the content of how to do things in order to perform better, or to be better, or to feel better, or to how to have more healthier, how to be good, and but there is less conversations about, okay, I feel sad, I need time for my sadness, I'm not okay. Something is happening in my life that is not making me happy, and it's okay. I have a 6 years old kid, and sometimes he will say to me, I'm boring, I feel sad, I need to cry. Come to me. I'm here. I can hug you, and together we can do things. But we live in a modern world where everything needs to be optimized. Everything is for the good, and it worries me a little bit, because we are forgetting that we are humans, and we are fragile, and of course we want wellness for our families, our friends, our communities, our countries, and we need to question how we feel today, how we are, and how we can help others to help to balance themselves as well.
Yeah. Another good idea would be to see how someone feels about us, like in games, like they show you that you're friendly with this person, or this person is mad at you, or this person is hurt by you. That would be great.
I
would
don't
make
know.
us lazy emotionally, though.
Yeah. I think that I will. It will be harder for me. I prefer to ask, "How are you doing?" and navigating the conversation than just he's in bad day, and I prefer not to speak with him. I will go to do my things and let him alone. I will prefer to. Yeah, we need to talk. If you want me, yeah. If not, it's okay. I can leave you alone.
So, great. All right. Next question. What's one non-gaming thing that heavily influences your design style?
I don't have a style. I am in service of the products I am creating. Something that influenced me a lot is just I'm in love with image creation and image. I consume a lot of images. I'm reading a lot of books. I collect things that are not common, not art books that are not. They don't bring like more than 500 books and are made by artists in specific ways. I like the things that are a little bit different and off. Many of my work, my private work is just experimental work, and I'm going in different directions and doing stuff because I want to do different stuff. I'm not attached to one style. For example, in the case of The Witcher, they require me some specific style, but then when I joined Cyberpunk, they require from me a different style. And then when I worked in Hamburg for another company, another project, the visual language was different, and I need to mutate to that. And then Diablo, the art director of Diablo, saw my work, and he invited me to join to the team. So I'm in service of whatever is the project.
Yeah. So, next question. What's a game UI that you love, but most people don't talk about?
That's a big topic. You play the journey, and the journey have little visual. The clues are there, but it's something that it plays with your intuition and your emotions. But it's a pure gameplay again.
Yeah.
So I like this kind of things that are the UI serves as a comment and meta information for the game.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess that there are games that are pushing ways of navigating in game. The UI of Destiny was something unique, and how you navigate through the UI, the interface, and the visuals. I don't know. There is a plenty of
Destiny was one of those games, as you've mentioned, that I remember when it came out, Destiny 1, I'm not a UI designer, but I was like very impressed by it that, I'm doing so many things here, and there are so many stats and information that I have to keep track of, but they're all so easy to follow and easy to navigate. I mean, that was one of the moments that I really appreciated the art of UI. And the other thing that recently really, really impressed me was Diablo. I mean, the visual of it, the way it was so easy to understand. I mean, the little icons, you see it and you say, I know what that does, without even hovering over to read about it. That's something
that I was thinking. I thought about a lot of. Usually in games, you see the iconography is an illustration of whatever the hero is doing.
Yeah.
And for me, what is the concept behind the iconography?
Yeah.
And I will take it like a symbol that you will find in the street. When they are the visuals are more simplified and universal. Have some kind of universal understanding of the speed of your car, or take care because the road is slicey or whatever. They make the graphics smaller to lead from to be read so you can read them from specific distance. So when I designed it, the ideation of those iconographies was thinking on that. How I can create a simplification of and a conceptual way of whatever the hero is doing every time that you smash a button.
Yeah. I was talking to the UI designer of Hitman games, and he told me that for the new Hitman games, he thought that, all right, this guy, this contract killer travels around the world And one thing that came to their mind was he must be in a lot of airports. So they basically use all the airport UI design in the game. So you're always like traveling, and it's so understandable. And whenever I go to airport, I look at the navigation
and the
signs and
panels,
information and how helpful they are. And it's insane. It's pure psychology when you look at it that way. That wherever you are in the airport, you can navigate yourself. Like, oh, this way does this, and this is going there.
Yeah, the movie Alien, they create a set of symbols and signs, a signaling package that specifically works for real cases of communication.
Yeah.
And then when they make alien isolation, they use part of these visual languages, and it helps to enrich the world. And I guess that this is when you think like, man, these people are really clever. They are just immersing themselves in the game, in the needs of the game. They are not copying something that they saw outside of the game.
Exactly, as you've mentioned. For example, you kind of like thought about if the UI of Diablo is being designed by someone within the world of Diablo, someone probably sitting by candles, drawing that. That was so beautiful. Yeah. All right. So, last question. Before we go, what's next for you? What's on your plate right now?
I don't know. I really don't know. For now, I'm just still, making things with Blizzard and Diablo. I'm happy.
Yeah.
If I open my private life, many things depends too of my work and everything, the wellness of my family. I'm living in Europe, in Germany, and it's not something that I can take for granted, because before I moved over here in Germany, when I was working in the States, Blizzard never had someone working from abroad. And they gave me the chance and possibility to do so, because it was something that I really wanted to, and my wife as well. We didn't build in the States it was not for us. It's simply we felt like we want to be in Europe, and European conditions and things that we knew from living in Germany before. So and it's not that easy that the companies will trust you and do things for you. So I have a big debt with Blizzard. They are treating me in a wonderful way, and I'm okay. I'm happy with them. I'm happy working with the project. But there is always aspirations, The other thing that I like with them is like they allow me to do stuff. So I will make designs for shirts, or I don't know, more symbols or more symbologies, or they have projects for books, and they will say, could you work with us to do this or that? And I will support them. So it's something that I really like to do, is in general working graphic design in different things. And I cannot, it's a relief. I'm happy because I'm not just doing the UI, but I'm impacting the world of Diablo in different fields, in different ways, and with different kind of works. I don't know. I just I don't know. It depends in many things,
Yeah.
The potential that the employers sees in you, and the possibilities to. So that I really want to do in some ways, just I want to have the opportunity to talk more to the students, especially to get in contact with the youngest generations that want to develop things for UI and video games. Because I have the feeling that there is missing a lot of information, not only in the technicality of your work, but how to think, how to do things in useful way, and how to approach projects. and how to let things go sometimes, because we as a designers or as a creators, we have this tendency of falling in love for whatever we are doing. And in many occasions, as I mentioned before, many things that I'm doing, no one will see. Most of my work is never will appear publicly. The majority of my work is not there in the game. It's not anywhere. It's just there in Blizzard archives and are just process of ideations and so on. So you need to learn these kind of things. Like, not all the time you are doing things for show off, and not everything is for being successful, and not everything is for the glorification of yourself. You are working in a team. You work for your team. You work for your art director. You work for the IP. You are in, and all these kind of things. No one talks to you. On the other hand, no one prepare you for some kind of levels of frustration. Not because you work in the video game industry doesn't mean that you are working and happy. Like, I'm in the video game industry and every day is happy. No, it's a job. 8 hours of your day per day you give to an employer in exchange for an income, in the hope that you will launch a project that is satisfying you emotionally and that will satisfy the expectation of the players. But we need to ground a little bit more the worth of the video game industry, and because sometimes I have the feeling that we are becoming like the stars, like movie stars. Or I don't think so. We are just employees doing the job that we like in the best of our abilities. And sometimes you have the luckiness of working IPs that are well known, and sometimes no. Sometimes you could be happy working in a small project, indie, doing something cool with a small group that they became your closest friends, and you have an emotional satisfaction from that. And then you launch a project that is okay, it's happy. And sometimes you have the luckiness of work for these big companies, and you can do something really cool that impact the minds and hearts of many, many people. But you need to still humble. You need to be grounded. You need to ground yourself all the time. You are lucky that you are working in this industry, and be aware of this luckiness and do the best that you can, because we are having processes as well. Like, many companies are laying off people, and you see more and more companies closing. So not everything is satisfaction, and not everything is entertainment. There is a human condition in our work and the ways that we develop things. So I think that we need to ground people, the people that are coming to the industry, because you see all the time in many places, like, oh, finally I am in this big industry and doing the things. You link everything in LinkedIn, and finally after my dream job and so on. And then the dream job probably is not the dream that you were expecting, or probably is not. Sometimes I think, I have the abilities, and I know that I have a good work, and I have ethics towards my work, but it doesn't mean that I will work perfect in every project. For some kind of projects, I am not good. It doesn't mean that I'm a bad person or bad employee. It's simply that it's not the kind of project that resonate inside of me and that allow me to give the best of me.
Yeah, that was a beautiful, honest answer, and hopefully will ignite the imagination of the students that you've mentioned and inspire them to dream big, and this conversation will be helpful to them. All right. Thank you so much, Fernando. Your work is a bridge into getting to know amazing words and experiences, and you've done it perfectly. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you for the invitation. It's really, I'm really glad to have the chance to talk, and every second of time that someone has to spend with me and to share whatever ideas or comments or questions, I am really welcome it, because we need a lot of communication. a lot. We live in a world, a difficult world that we have a lot of channels of communication, but we are not talking to each other, and we don't want to give the chance to the others to talk. So I'm really thankful for every opportunity I have to talk.
Yeah, thank you so much.